Hey, how we doing? It's Ben from EQL Networks and Security. Today we're going to be looking at one of Dahua's 5 megapixel full color active deterrence IP cameras. If you're new to this channel and like what you see here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. If any other questions or comments, don't be afraid to hit us up in the comment sections below. Now let's get right into this. So the part number for this camera starts with a DH-IPC. That's all I'm ever going to remember, so the rest will be listed here. Now, let's take a closer look at this camera. The camera is mostly made out of metal and has a built-in red and blue LEDs for deterring potential intruders and a built-in white LED if basically there's no ambient light around to help illuminate that environment. Well, it is going to help illuminate that environment. Anyway, I think you know what I mean. The camera also has a built-in two-way speaker to communicate with someone in close proximity to the camera, basically to scare off any potential intruders. They're also available in a 2.8mm and 3.6mm versions of this camera. It's a bit more of the specs here. So this has a 2.7-inch CMOS sensor with a wide dynamic range of 120 decibels and an aperture of 1.0. So this camera has the ability to produce color in 24/7, making it basically almost a direct competitor to say the Hikvision's ColorView and AccuSense series, but all combined into one. So if you like to see a comparison between this camera and the ColorView cameras, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. Now let's look at some Dory specs for this particular camera. So it's able to detect at 67 meters, observe at 27 meters, recognize at 13.5 meters, and identify at 6.7 meters. Now, to give you guys an idea of how loud this alarm is on the camera, we used an app on our phone to measure the dB levels. So the camera, you're probably standing about half a meter away from this camera. So take a look at this. So just to clarify, this isn't an accurate sound measurement device that we use or gives you exactly how loud the camera is. It basically gives you a frame of reference so you know how loud this thing can actually be. Now, this camera is also part of the WizSense series. WizSense cameras, being in a nutshell, are basically engineered with advanced AI chips with deep algorithm learning to basically help identify humans and vehicles. So the camera is also sometimes referred to a TIOC, which stands for 3-in-1. You know, its ability to see color 24/7. You know, these AI chips used to help identify objects, so you can, pick up people or vehicles, and has those active deterrent features such as the flashing LEDs and then the speakers you can talk to. So anyway, enough of this talking. Let's go see how this camera performs in day and night. So let's just start off with our walk test. So you'll see me walking along here. And if we freeze it there, you can see you still make out a bit of identification features. You see colors clearly. You know, overall the picture looks crisp, it looks clean, it looks sharp. And on this next walkthrough, I'm actually going to walk up to the camera. I'm probably going to be about 3 meters to 4 meters away. And if we freeze it there, so once again, you can clearly see facial features, even though I'm wearing a mask. But you can see, lettering, colors, everything there as well. So what we'll do now is we'll start zooming in on the number plates. So over here, like you can see clearly, you can make out the lettering and the number plates there of what the letters are. And if we zoom over to this center one, which is probably about 20 meters away, not as clear, but you can still make out the letters and number plates as we try and simulate a number plate there. And finally, we'll zoom over here on the right. And once again, you can still clearly see what the letters are or make out what the letters are. Just to zoom in now, we'll have a look at, say, the tree line. You see, like, it's not super clear, it's not crisp. But, just to give you an idea of what that looks like at probably about, 25 to 30 meters away. Now what we'll do is we'll look at the nighttime shot. So you can see the nighttime shot is everything is in color. So this has got nothing around. It's just purely going off the ambient light. As we do our walk test, you can see I'm actually ghosting. When we freeze it there, you can see the ghost image. Like, you can't make out who that is. You just know there's someone there. So on the next walkthrough tests, I'll actually come up to the camera. And as I come up and we freeze it there, you can see now that it's frozen, you can start to make out a bit more features. It's not crystal clear at all, but you can clearly see differentiation in colors. And once again, that ghosting as I walk away. Now we'll zoom in onto the left. So here you can see the number plates just make out the numbers and the letters now. You might not be able to clearly see what each letter is, but it gives you an indication of how well this camera performs when we zoom in. We'll go over to the right. This one's a bit better. It possibly could be due to the angle, but still, you can't clearly identify, is that a Q, is that a O? But it does give you some recognition. And then we'll zoom in on this number plate here. Can't see anything. You won't be able to identify anything at that distance. And now just to look at the tree lines. Once again, you can see colors, identify colors, but you won't be able to make anything out at that particular distance. So what we'll do now in this next one, we'll actually turn on the white light LED. So now you can see the whole area is illuminated just from that little spotlight LED on the camera. And as I'm walking through, you can see the ghosting has improved a little bit, but there still is ghosting occurring. So once again, you'll just be able to pick up colors, but you won't be able to identify. Overall, the picture looks pretty good as well. So next walk test, we'll walk up to the camera. We freeze it there. You can start to see facial features now, start to see a little bit more lettering on the numbers and stuff. But once again, you can clearly see what color someone's wearing, but also a little bit washed out. Now what we'll do is we'll try and zoom into the number plates. So if we look here, now that the white light's on, it's just reflecting back off the number plate and you can't actually see or identify any letters on that number plate now. However, the picture is a lot brighter. Just go over here into the middle. You can start to see a little bit more lettering and numbers here, but once again, it's still being reflected back off, which means you can't see anything. So maybe depending on the position, you may be able to capture stuff a bit better. And over here on the right, number plate's completely washed out due to it being reflected. And then we'll just zoom into the top here. Once again, it's not clear, not crisp, just purely there for identifying colors and identifying what's happening. So what are my thoughts on this camera? The camera performs relatively well during the day, producing a moderate amount of clarity when needing to zoom in. However, during the night, if there's no ambient light source, moving people or vehicles can cause this image to blur. This might improve with changes to shutter speeds, but like always, we're always testing these cameras straight out of the box. When we're using the white LED, as you've seen, sometimes it can cause certain features such as vehicles or even people's faces to be washed out because, it's only a small LED, but it is super bright. And it does brighten up the area so you can get more colors and see what else is going on. So this seems like it can be controlled, and basically given the right and correct settings and how this camera is mounted, you may get better use out of it. So at the time of testing, Dahua had always released a TIOC 2.0, which we'll basically test later on, but it just allows the white light only to come on in a detected area. So basically, until that person enters that area, it just stays in black and white mode with an IR. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on that review. On that note, that's it for this video. If you found this video informative, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and while you're at it, hit us up in the comment section for any questions you may have. At EQL, we're always here to help and support your business.